Records of the Unknown, Operation Latency, contains horror elements that may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to an Atomic Broadcasting production, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation. And remember, do your part, such as like, comment, rate, and don't forget to tell a friend to tune in for an Atomic Time.
November 18th, 10:24 a.m. We see inside the morning bar, Corporal Adams is chatting and having breakfast with Henriette Bunsen as the door opens and Birdie comes walking in.
She looks a little
Shaken.
Spaced?
Yeah,
Flustered.
I like that. Flustered, spaced. And she walks up to Corporal Adams.
Agent Bellamy, welcome.
Hi?
You remember Miss Bunsen?
Yeah. Slightly less in prison this time, I see.
Yeah, it's very nice.
You enjoying your new taste of freedom?
Something like that. I'm enjoying this food. You see, she's gotten like 3 plates of breakfast so far. And you can see Alan is making more.
Mr. Haley, can we get another cup of coffee for Agent Bellamy, please?
Yeah, sure. I got it coming up.
That would be nice. Birdie kind of is just staring at all of the food. Got an appetite or something?
I haven't gotten to eat a lot. I've been in jail.
Right.
I'm very hungry.
Okay. Agent Adams, can I talk to you for a second?
Sure. Excuse us.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What's on your mind?
So I was out looking at the plane, making sure everything was in order. I mean, for one, it don't look like no lightning bolt hit it. I don't exactly know what to make of that, but it did look like someone had sabotaged it just enough for it to malfunction. And maybe whatever hit the plane was enough to throw everything off.
So you're saying before we took off?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I thought that guy at the airport was looking a little sketchy.
I don't know if it was him. I don't know who it was, but...
So what you're saying is we're stuck here for...
I got it working, I think, enough for us to actually get out of here.
Oh, that's good.
But that's not... Well, I'll wait until we meet back up again with the doctor to tell you something else.
Yeah, I got... Something else happened to me on the way to collect Miss Bunsen, and I think I'll wait for the doc to get back before I share that as well. The coffee's good. Help yourself.
All right. I go get coffee and try to unfrazzle my frazzled mind.
So you all settle into the booth, drink up, maybe have some more breakfast. Couple hours pass. It's now about 12:20. And the door opens as Dr. Steele comes on inside.
As he walks in, you start to hear the clunk of his cane just kind of against the floor. Imagine it's a wooden floor. And he kind of takes in the scene or the room at least and sees you guys in the booth, so he comes over. I think it's good afternoon.
Hey, Doc.
Hope you've been having a good morning so far. I've learned there's a few things, but I'm curious what you guys happen to find so far. Good morning, Miss Bunsen.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I have a a bit of a headache now. Do they have any more of that aspirin?
I can check with Alan.
Alan comes by and he's like, "Oh, hey doc, do you want a drink?"
No, thank you, not this time.
All right.
You got any more of that aspirin, Mr. Haley?
Yeah, I got some right here. I thought you might need some more. You guys have been here a while.
Yeah, thank you.
Here you go.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, let me know if you guys need anything else.
How many aspirin is that?
Is this her second dose?
Yeah, just a second.
And how long?
Be about, 3 hours? 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
That's not unheard of.
No, it's just...
I'm more worried about how much she's eating.
She's eaten that other plate since you guys got there, but she did stop eating. After a little time had passed, she did start kind of nursing her head again. And so now she's taken more aspirin.
Would you three like to compare notes before we head over to Miss Bunson's lab?
Well, I certainly would like to discuss more about what we've all learned, certainly. The next thing on our agenda today might not necessarily be the lab, although we do plan to do that today. We'd like to get you, Miss Bunson, back to your home. Feeling rough headache? You know, have you been feeling that for a while?
Just this morning.
Just
That's
this
all.
morning?
Woke up with it. It's not a great place to sleep, you know.
No, of course. I imagine they don't have very comfortable bedding there. I mean, I'm sure if it's nothing, we could also visit Peter Kent as well. He might be able to help you out, of course. He's a local doctor. So.
No, I've worked a lot with Peter. I don't think I need anything from him right now.
Very well. Yes, if you give us a moment, I think we should compare our notes.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Just think, it's better than sitting in that cell.
It is. That is true. It is true. It's quiet.
So we'll kind of go to where out of earshot.
Mm-hmm. Imagine go back to our room, even if you guys want to go there. To the room.
If we do that, I'll want to tell Alan to keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't.
That's also what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Like that's yeah.
Or we could just go to the other end of the bar and where we can keep an eye on her and then talk in hushed voices.
Very well.
Okay, so you guys get up, tell her you'll be back, and you head over to the back corner of the bar away from her. So you can still keep her in your eyesight, but you want to make sure you can have a private conversation.
Very well. I'll start. Miss Bellamy, do we have at least an exit out of here? Is the plane in operational order?
Yes, it is. And she'll fill you in on what she just told Agent Adams.
Curious. At least we do have a way to get out of this area. But that is definitely odd.
Yeah.
A little concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like it. That's not everything, though. I was going to wait until you got here. Agent Dr. Steele. Dr. Agent Steele.
Thank you. I definitely prefer Agent Steele while we're in public.
Agent
Right, I'll
Steele.
try to stop calling you Doc. It's just kind of...
I think most people know anyways. I'll definitely not hide that I have medical training, but in our position, I am an agent. I am not a doctor.
10-4.
As I was doing the inspection and making the repairs and everything, I heard what I thought might have been an airplane, but I'd never heard an engine like that before in my life. I've heard a lot of engines. It was starting to snow. I just looked up, see if I could find where the sound was coming from, see if I could see whatever aircraft was up there, and there was a break in the clouds, and I don't know if it was my mind playing tricks on me or what was going on, but I saw this green light, and then it was blue, and then it was violet. And I know there's such a thing as an aurora borealis up here, but it was in the broad daylight. And it accompanied that engine sound. Now, I have no idea what that was. I've never seen an aircraft just change light colors like that.
I have some experience with aircraft too, and that doesn't sound like anything I've ever seen.
In this engine, it sounded like nothing I'd ever heard before. I don't even know how to describe it.
See, Agent Adams is kind of especially when you start talking about the lights, his brow furrows. He doesn't say anything about it specifically, but the more perceptive of you might notice there's a bit of a reaction when you start talking about that. That's not the only weird thing that's happened today. Remember me mentioning that old woman
Yes,
that I saw last night? Well, I ran into her again today. Actually, got to talk to her. Her name is Aurora Lewis. Got that information from the sheriff. It's hard to explain exactly, but she knew things that she shouldn't have known.
Such as?
If I'm being delicate about it, things about my past. She just knew.
Your past?
Mine.
Have you...
Things that happened to me in the war.
I
know it sounds crazy.
That does sound crazy.
She's just a sweet old woman. I helped carry her groceries into her house. And then she started saying these things that...
How would she know that information?
Oh, I think she has her own ways of learning things.
Like?
Either she's a very well-connected grandmother, or there's something else more our speed going on here, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
I think it'll actually end up being the latter on that.
Wait, did you talk to her too?
No, but I did look through the town's medical records, so I was actually able to learn some more information without having to meet face to face. So curious thing is, I spoke with Peter a little bit as well. Miss Aurora, her family apparently are known in town being a bit odd, a bit weird, a bit into the occult.
That's what the sheriff told me.
She also used to run the town's orphanage whenever they had that problem going on. His parents were lost in the war.
The sheriff did not tell me that.
And interesting thing for her is that, Dr. Uriah Kent kept very good records, even having files prepared for townsfolk that hadn't seen him yet. And her family's lived here before. She has absolutely no medical record. So she is one that doesn't even go see a doctor. So there's definitely... Her and her family are more practiced in strange ways.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was afraid of. Anyway, we need to keep an eye on her if we can. If she shows up, weird stuff is probably going to follow. I don't know if it means anything, but...
Yes, I think it'd be curious to know... I am certainly curious how she knew about your past, although my more concerns about what she knows about our present here and about more of the secrets of the town. I'm not sure.
Makes me mildly uncomfortable.
It makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, that is, I suppose, our line of work. Thank you for that information, yes. And it kind of helps collaborate my own assumptions. That is who it's connected to, and not another old woman that we haven't met yet. So.
Yeah, I also learned that apparently eating that strange plant doesn't do anything. I talked to Miss Bunsen. She says she's eaten it herself, and it doesn't taste very good, but...
Are you talking about the fungus?
Yeah.
The radioactive fungus?
Yeah, that. She says,
how does that not affect anything if you're ingesting something that's radioactive?
Well, so what I was getting at was, it's probably not connected to the deaths. Because I had asked her about Uriah, and if maybe the plants were connected to his death and the death of the miner. But She said she didn't think so. That if it was exposure, she would have already been affected. If it was ingestion, she would have already been affected.
Have you not seen how much this woman has been eating recently?
I mean, I have.
Is that not concerning to you? I mean, she may complain about the fact that, the food in the jail is not that good. And while that may be true, I feel like it's just not a normal appetite.
I mean, it doesn't seem completely out of the question. I mean,
That was a lot of food for one woman.
well, maybe there is something to it then. I'm reporting what I found from her. She also says that the wildlife will sometimes eat it. They usually try it once and they don't eat it again, but there hasn't been any other abnormalities that she's observed. Now, there might be, but we'll probably need to go to her lab to figure that out.
Interesting. Yeah, so I'll just do that. Do keep an eye on her as well while we're there, of course. I'm curious if she'll go to find her own source of food or own meal while there. I imagine being a doctor, I would know like signs of addiction or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a bit curious with her headache and it kind of being persistent this morning. Maybe, there's some act for effect of eating it. Now, you don't know something immediately, but if you don't eat it again, maybe an adverse effect that way. So I'm sure she'll have it some around her place. I wonder if she even has some stashed that she's just been consuming.
Maybe so.
The sheriff, Peter, and Tommy Haverfield, the electrocuted man, did all grow up together. You may kind of notice they're in similar age, but they did grow up in this town. Peter tried to explain to me, of course, that Tommy was kind of a friend of theirs as they had grown up and everything, and he was kind of finally making his way in life, like found a calling. He was working as the town's kind of electrician, was learning from another fellow, Chuck Callahan, that brought electricity to the town. Kind of explains why he was electrocuted. Kind of gives some information why they, at least that's how he explains why he was so uncomfortable with us looking at the bodies. For them, it was someone they knew personally, and were friends with before. How far you want to go with that, or if they're both trying to work together and covering something, I'm not quite sure. But I did learn some more about Tommy Haverfield. He did have a wife, and they had recently had a child. I say recently, it was about 3 years ago. And the death for that, I found the records on that were a bit peculiar. A doctor's visit once a week during the course of pregnancy, and then when they had the child, I think it only grown up maybe a year before she was found with the child naked in a blizzard, dead. I guess I can understand that it's been a bit rough for them, but we do know the funeral is today, and I think it'll also be another opportunity to kind of learn more about townsfolk, see how they react to this funeral procession. That's what Peter was getting ready for as well, so I'm thinking we might attend that just as onlookers and paying our respects.
Yeah, we could probably learn something.
I don't recall that John Gibson or Peter grew up in the orphanage. It was just Tommy. I'm not sure who else was in the orphanage when they grew up here alongside Tommy, but I knew they were at least friends. Apparently Sheriff Gibson doesn't like his role. He says Peter relays it. He was forced into it because of his family, and apparently he's trying to prepare the deputy to take over for him. Might also explain some of his own nerves. Really no oddities among the people of the town. No, the only repeat is like people getting maybe like a stomach bug on occasion, but otherwise there's no huge epidemic with this right now. No one is visiting the doctor for it anyways. And I do think speaking with the Russians might prove worthwhile. According to their medical records, they've been living here for like 15 years, so they actually are quite old for the town. Valerie lost her husband, unfortunately, but also a kind of an odd similarity that he was also found dead out in the snow, or they chalked that up to him having a heart attack. Because I knew it was Valerie Novikov and Nikolai Novikov, and they've been living here a while, but Nikolai was found dead. I didn't write down how long ago that was, but at least that was worthwhile. We of course have the question of we can trust who we can trust and everything like that. But I feel, knowing that they've been in this town for over a decade, they might prove as honest folk.
Do you know where they live?
I might be able to find our way there. Be a bit, of course, respectful, of course, and I'm not very good with my own Russian, but she, as I understand, she's the local game hunter and butcher, so she might know more about the animals that apparently been eating the fungus and then not touching it, if there's been other strange behaviors with them.
Yeah, it'd be worth talking to her. So, trying to get a rough itinerary going. We maybe want to go to that funeral.
The funeral's at 2. It's about 12:30. And then daylight's supposed to end around 4.
So the funeral's at 2. That's a time-sensitive thing.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to talk to Abe about maybe borrowing his car while he's gone.
And Abe is going to be leaving in about 2 days on the fishing voyage.
Right, that's why I'm bringing these things up, because they're more time-sensitive
Yeah.
than anything else we've got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Funeral, Abe. We need to get to Bunson's lab. We need to get eyes on some of that research and get eyes on those plant things, because we actually haven't seen any of them yet.
I agree. That's something we definitely want to look at.
We need to talk to Dan Haley. We haven't talked to him yet.
We need to actually investigate the mine a bit more, as that's where the most recent victim was found.
Right. I think the funeral's the most pressing thing. Do we all want to go to that?
I think it would be interesting.
It's at least it'd be interesting. I'm curious how many of the townsfolk will be there. But other than that, I'm not sure what else we'll really learn that pertains to our investigation into going. His own death could have been a true tragic accident that just happened to overlap with our investigation. Of course, we do also have to take care of Miss Bunsen as well. And I'm
Yeah.
curious how she'll react, if she would be willing to just go there now, or if she'll try and fight us on returning to her home to get ready.
I mean, we kind of broke her out of jail on the premise that we're taking her back there, so...
Yes. But I also don't want to have to babysit her the entire time. We're going to let her loose at some point.
Yeah. That's why I was asking if do all of us want to go to the funeral, because we might split and take care of multiple things.
But that is, I think, everything important that I had made note of. There's some other piece of information maybe, but yes, that's, I think, what we just need to go over. So I guess let's relay with Miss Bunsen how she wants to go about the funeral today, if she wants to attend.
She will have to come with us either way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we approach this as an ask. I think we approach this as a tell.
We're CIA. We can... It's fine.
But we don't have jurisdiction over anything.
She does not have to know that.
Nope.
You hush.
You guys are outside of the States, so...
Yeah.
I'm going to go back over to Alan. Hey, do you have any more aspirin?
Yeah, I do. You need more already?
No, she's just going to come with us, and if her head keeps acting up, I want to make sure she has something.
Yeah, sure. Here, just take the bottle, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem. You guys going to the funeral today?
That is the plan.
All
I'm
right.
going to pay our respects.
That's good. I'm glad. I mean, I know you guys haven't really been here long enough or ever met Tommy, but
We just feel like it's the right thing to do.
that's good. I appreciate it. That's nice. I'll be closing up here actually in like a half an hour so I can get ready.
That sounds good. We'll move our way over now back to Henriette Bunsen. So, Miss Bunsen, it has come to our attention that a funeral is being held today.
Her face like sinks when you say that.
Did you know the deceased?
What? Tommy? She like looks and she's thinking for a minute. Maybe passing. I never really had a lot of conversation with him.
Well, we wanted to stop by and attend his funeral, pay our
Okay.
respects. So
How long is that going to take you?
Well, you're coming with us.
I'm not going to that funeral.
Yes, you are.
It's either that or you go sit in that jail cell until
I'll
we're
go
done.
sit in the jail cell.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this.
Why?
I don't want to. Can you... Well, she's kind of stuttering. Nolan, can you roll human intelligence?
Yeah.
58.
No!
Over 50.
So you rolled a 58 over 50. However, because she's not good at hiding this at all, you have a plus 20 to that roll.
A plus 20?
Well, I think that means you succeed.
She looks nervous, scared, and just visibly fully uncomfortable with the thought of the funeral. And she's kind of shaky.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be all right, Miss Bunsen. I mean, I understand if you're concerned, since you've been considered the suspect most recently for a couple of the past, but this one that's been cleared.
I don't have a reason to go to that funeral. I don't want to go to the funeral.
Well, I mean, if sitting in the jail cell is what you want to do until we're done, then I guess that's what you can do.
Okay, I'll go do that.
I guess,
Sounds good to me.
Guess we'll take her back to jail for an hour.
As you guys are heading back towards the jail cell, Henriette is still visibly shaken and is a little shaky on her walk. And then she kind of looks over towards where people are starting to set up, and she just starts throwing up.
Doc?
I didn't realize your nerves were so bad, Miss Henriette.
It's okay. I think it's just a headache. It's fine.
The headache still persists.
Not a lot right now. The aspirin toned it down. But, I don't know. I just don't feel good today, I guess.
Maybe she ate too much.
I guess that's possible. She kind of wipes it from her mouth and just kind of keeps trekking on.
I just want to be on the record. I don't like this.
Same.
Yeah. But if she's going to act like this, I don't think people would be happy if we pulled her along to the funeral.
Oh, no, that's a horrible idea.
But also with this now, I'm a bit concerned of leaving her just in the jail cell while we all three don't go, or we all go. Agent Bellamy, seeing how sick she is here, while Adams and I attend the funeral, would you mind watching over her? I'm afraid that she's getting a bit sick, but of course I do want someone to at least make an appearance at the funeral, I feel. I would prefer it would be all of us, but things seem a bit tight at the moment.
You guys don't have to babysit me. Lucas will probably be there.
Yeah, we'll just get her a bucket.
That can be fair.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure Lucas can handle it.
I'd rather not be on babysitting duty.
Lucas will handle it.
Lucas has watched you already enough. I'm sure he can take care of you. You at least now have, well, you did have a full stomach.
So you guys head in. Lucas is there. Clearly wasn't kind of even thinking about the funeral. He looks kind of spaced, but not like worried. Just, oh yeah, that's today. And he's like, yeah, I can watch her. And locks her up.
Thank you, Lucas.
And then you guys are heading out. So what's happening here? Who's attending the funeral and who's not attending the funeral?
I can head to the lab by myself. I'm more than capable of handling myself. And if you kind of give me an idea of what I'm looking for, I might be able to at least get some things together before we take her back with us.
I suppose that will work out fine if you can make it out there and back in relative quickness. I don't think I'd be able to make it that quickly myself. And I definitely want to see what's in there, but I'm much more concerned about what she might try and hide. So the things I have in mind are samples that are, behaving oddly, the cut and dissected samples. Any paperwork she has, especially in the way it interacts with the body, would certainly be the most interesting if we're going to try and tie this to the victims we do have here.
I'm really curious about that lab.
Do you want to go to the lab? Because I
mean,
have high alertness too.
You can also weigh the odds of, do you want one person going alone 3 miles away from town, or do you want the duo to go and have the one guy go to the funeral?
I would only slow you guys down.
So you have decided that Corporal Adams and Agent Bellamy, Birdie, will be running off to the lab ahead of all of you. Well, Dr. Steele attends the funeral, and you're leaving Bunsen in care of Lucas
In the cell.
in the cell.
Correct.
I believe that is the plan, yes.
All right. So the doctor starts heading out towards getting ready for the funeral. The two of you are stepping out of the sheriff's office, and you're ready to start huffing it to the lab, which is, you guys kind of saw it on the map where someone pointed it out to you before. It's about 3 miles east. You're not 100% sure on its exact location, but you can probably figure it out by the trails walked back and forth a lot.
And I have 40 navigation, by the way, if that makes any difference. You probably have higher.
I have 50.
Yeah.
So you guys should be in good hands. So as you guys are heading out, a lot of people are coming out of their homes. There's a couple of people coming down the popular trails from out of town coming in for the funeral. And on one of the outskirt houses, there's this older fella sharpening a knife, kind of just... You guys kind of like lock eyes with him for a second, and he kind of looks away from you guys as you continue to head outside of town. As you guys are running, can I get an alertness check from both of you?
70 on 70.
98 over 60.
As you're running, you guys get about 1.5 miles through when something off the trail into the woods catches the corporal's eyes. You see what looks, very briefly, before trees kind of start to cover, a group of people surrounding a moose.
I will stop and kind of... hang on a second, Birdie.
What?
I put my finger up to my lips in a shushing gesture, and then I point to the group of people that I saw.
So looking back, you don't quite see them anymore from the trail.
There was a group of people. It looked like they were surrounding an animal, maybe a moose.
That's...
It seems strange because of the funeral that's going on right now. That's all. I think most of the townspeople would be going to that. If I take a few steps back, can I see them again, or...
You don't see them as clearly as you saw before, but you see like a large shape over there.
It might be nothing.
I mean, do you want to check it? Do you want to check it just to make sure, or are we good to keep moving? It's up to you. I'm good either way.
We have a timetable to keep.
All right.
Let's keep moving.
Can you both roll luck checks?
78.
77.
You guys both hear some sort of yell, but it's not like a human yell. It's more like an animal yell.
Is it coming from the direction?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you guys hear that, the snow starts coming down a little thicker. It's been coming down all day, but it's starting to get thicker. And you guys notice the sun is setting.
I didn't think it was supposed
We
to set
haven't-
for another few hours.
That's what I thought as well.
Why is it getting dark? I start listening for engine noises.
Oh, really interesting. You want to roll piloting?
25 under 80.
You kind of hear something off the trail that you're on, but it doesn't seem to be coming from the clouds. Seems lower than that.
Like engine noises?
Hearing it, you'd think that sounds similar to what I heard before, but it's not the same noise.
Can I pinpoint where it's coming from?
Coming from about the same way the corporal's been pointing out to.
Birdie kind of gets this almost haunted, distracted look and starts moving toward the noise.
Okay. I guess we're checking it out.
She doesn't say anything. She just moves toward it.
I will unholster my service weapon and follow very closely behind Birdie.
You start heading through the brush, deeper into the woods. The snow at this point's a little over an inch off the ground, snowing continually. For just a minute as you guys are getting there, there's like a gust of wind, so the snow is all still powdery and blows up all around, and you come out into this clearing, and there's a moose on its side, and walking around it you see from like its neck down it's been slit open, but there's just a little bit of blood, and it looks empty.
The carcass looks empty.
Looks empty, no organs, or even looks like maybe there's some bone, but some of it's not there. Well, it's been getting darker with the clouds and the sun starting to set. It starts getting brighter. Above you, really huge, spread across probably the whole town and more, is this large aurora borealis. And we hear the weird hum of some sort of engine nearby. And both of you roll power checks.
That's 20 under 50.
41 under 50. Hmm?
Birdie, what are you doing right now?
I am... So I I'm looking at the moose, and then I see the lights, and I hear the engine hum, and I look up.
As you're looking up, Corporal,
Yeah.
you saw her kind of start looking up, and you're going to follow her gaze. You can't move. You realize you can't even move your eyes up as you just sort of freeze. And you hear something in the bushes behind you. And then we cut to black.
Thank you for listening to the Records of the Unknown Operation Latency. Records of the Unknown is an Atomic Broadcasting production. Delta Green is copyright of Arc Dreams Publishing. Operation Latency is not published or endorsed by Arc Dreams Publishing and is an original module created and run by Samuel Sarver. Our players are Nolan as Dr. Sylvester Steele, Abby as Bernadette Birdie Bellamy, and Harrel as Corporal Alexander Adams. Music in the show is from Monument Studios, as well as various artists. If you enjoy the show, be sure to subscribe or follow the Atomic Broadcasting Network on your favorite listening platform. If you want to stay in touch, you can follow us on our socials listed in the description. Join the community in our Discord server to be notified of future uploads and join in on the conversation of what's to come. Don't forget to like, comment, and tell a friend. And as always, have an atomic time.
Thanks for following
Thank
up
you.
on that.
He was like, I have one meta question.
Okay.
How long was this pregnancy? It's like, a normal amount of time.
Thank you.
Because I'm like,
That
wait,
was actually a very good question.
Good one, Nolan. Good.
but again, like, I don't know why, like, Dr. Steele wouldn't think to ask why it would be any different.
No, you have no
It's
point of
entirely
reference.
meta. Even telling you now, like, Dr. Steele's not telling you that because,
Yeah.
like, they were pregnant, they had a child. They met a lot of times. Maybe they're just concerned. I don't know.
Okay.